I'm lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It's the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. At the end of the day, you guys, if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight. This is I also do a twice a week long form podcast as well, where I only talk to transportation professionals, you guys. Anybody who comes on my show is a transportation professional, because we are putting information out there about what we apply, utilize in our daily lives, in our businesses, in our books of businesses. And we do this and put this information out there, you guys, so you guys can do the same with it. It's one of the many reasons why I proudly fly this American flag behind me every single day is I'm living my American dream. This is the greatest nation on earth, and I want to help each and every one of you guys live your American dream as well. We're going to talk about sales today. I did have a guest that was going to be jumping on, but he got sick overnight. But I'm still going to go on with what we are talking about here, you guys, in building up a book of business in any freight market that's out there, you guys. Because the fact of the matter is as you guys know, Freight Coach Logistics is running. I'm starting everything over from scratch. I'm in the process of building my book of business up right now. And I'm going to go through what I'm going through, what I've advised people in like when I was doing sales consulting for these last couple of years when I started my company. And we're going to go through all of that. And as always, if you guys have any questions, drop them in the chat, you guys. We can dedicate this entire show to your guys' questions if you want. I did pull up a couple of articles, but we'll do that. But before we get into everything, I got to give a shout out to my friends over at VHub. You guys, vhubapp.com. Whether you're a broker, carrier, or a shipper, we all need access to trailers at some point in time. And right now, with costs rising for our driver partners that are out there, you get paid to move these trailers for them. That's right. You get paid to do this on top of the revenue that you can get by loading that trailer out. So with what they're working on right now, you guys, is they have a reefer up in St. Cloud, Minnesota, needing to go to Mississauga, Ontario, and just go on to their, and then also they have Mason City, Iowa to Mississauga. It's a reefer as well. Go on to vhubapp.com and put your offer in there, you guys, and get connected with them. They also have Milton, Ontario to Moncton, New Brunswick. That's a dry van. You get 400 Canadian to do that. And then they also finally have Winnipeg, Manitoba going to Vaughan, Ontario, and you get 500 Canadian to do that. So hit them up, you guys, vhubapp.com. My friends Stacy Steen and Xavier Campos, they will be in the audience. Just do me a favor, you guys. Let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. Ryan Muhammad, am I pronouncing it right? Mississauga? Am I saying that right? He says, what it do? Whitney Young over on YouTube. He says, good morning at all. Working my way home. He's dropping that American flag in his comment. I love it. Sonny Sharma, good fucking morning. Let's fucking go. Zach Williams, good morning to you as well. Zach's with SPI Logistics, you guys. If you guys want to take control of your financial freedom, become an agent. Join the team. You guys, get over there. Hit him up, you guys. April Maroney, Coach, let's fucking go. Happy Wednesday morning. Let's get some business. That's right. Drew Driscoll, the Double D, back in the house. What's up, Coach? Happy hump day to you as well. Pat Green, what's good, brother? Good morning. Let's fucking go. Rodney Ball, good morning. Let's go. He's watching over on YouTube. Damn, the comments are blowing up. I'm trying to keep up here. Mike McBride, let's fucking go. Thanks for joining. Nathan at BPW Logistics. Good fucking morning, Freight Nation. He's got that American flag. YouTube's blowing up. I love it. I love seeing people go over there. Tracy O. St. Clair, good morning. Louis Montano, what's up, brother? Good morning. America, let's roll. Rishi, I appreciate that, man. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for showing up every single day, man. Thank you. Eric Favela, good morning. Step Deck Gang. He's got that American flag in his comment too. I love this. Okay, Miss is Saga. Mississauga? All right. Close enough. I'll get it. You'd think that I could pronounce that, man. I'm from Wisconsin originally. Tiffany Martin, she says, good morning, Chris. Thanks for always dropping the fire content. I appreciate that. Thank you, Tiffany. Samaj, what's up, brother? Good morning. Thanks for tuning in. All right, you guys, we are going to get into it right now. This is also got to give my subtle reminder to you that's day 213 of the Freight Coach Morning Show. And what that means is this is your 213th reminder that there are some core fundamental issues in this industry. Truck parking is massively lacking out there. Access to facilities, like basic necessities of food and showers, our drivers don't get them. So I'm going to continue to bring this stuff up every single day. I don't do this for vanity metrics, you guys. I do this to see a meaningful change in the industry because that's what is needed most importantly. Also, diesel is at $4.62 a gallon nationwide right now. I don't need to remind any of my driver friends of that. We are up 78 cents a gallon year over year as a whole. I get all of that information from the EIA, you guys, EIA.gov. And just use that to your advantage here. And then, you guys, I'm going to talk about building up a book of business here. And again, if you have any specific sales or operations questions for me, drop them in the chat right now. I will answer them all live for you today. We can dedicate this entire show to that if you want. And then, all right, Sonny, so that's the correct way to pronounce it. He says that's his hometown out there. So I've been up and running now for, I just announced it in January about Freight Coach Logistics, but we've been building the infrastructure of our company here for the last couple of months. My business partner and I, and we are agents with SPI Logistics, you guys. So if you guys want to join it, jump over, you guys. They have a phenomenal agency network program, resources, everything that's out there, you guys. It's second to none. It's second to none. I have built my brand off of unfiltered responses and unfiltered positions on things, you guys, and they are the real deal. All right. They are the real deal. And it is your own business out there. So it's like, I was a sales rep for a long time, right? I was a sales rep for a long time. I had built up books of businesses and I didn't get the compensation that I thought I was worth. I didn't even know about like that this was an actual opportunity out there. So it's like, if you are an existing sales rep out there and you're like, you want to jump out on your own, but it's expensive, like I'm not going to lie, running a business is expensive. So you might not want to take on the financial risk of getting your own authority and insurance and technology and all of that. It's literally a business in a box, you guys. So I would highly advise checking it out if that's the route that you would want to go. But, so we've been these last couple of months, we've been building out the infrastructure of our business, and we have invested a lot of time into training. So I have a probably 60 to 70 hours worth of in-depth training already documented in video and process format. And we're ready to go when we're hiring people and everything else. And, we invested heavily in training first, because again, looking back, like after what I have done in the past, me personally, I needed to have that in, because like a major, like, I don't want to call it a weakness of mine, but like an area, I don't write stuff down. And I know not everybody operates that way. So we need to have information out there and like processes to follow for people for training purposes. So we did that. And we've been prospecting this entire time as well. I've been utilizing video messages to people. I have purchased some lead generation software that I utilize that has turned out to be very, very accurate. And I've been doing emailing. I've been connecting with people on social media. I've been doing everything that, like, all of the videos that I've put out over these last couple of years, I've been applying it, and I'm getting a lot of feedback. Not everybody is signing up with me, and that's just the reality of it, but I'm getting feedback. I'm getting responses from stuff. And, for me personally, that it's going to come in the repetition, you guys, because the fact of the matter is as a broker, you're going to get faced with the exact same objections every single time. Like, some iteration of them is going to be like, they're asset only, or they're not sending anybody up right now. They're customer routed, vendor routed, or they're not busy, or, they don't work with brokers, whatever it is. It's all in the same. It's just different verbiage that's out there. So how are you preparing yourself for that? Because I think fatal error number one by most sales reps out there is you don't believe in what you're selling. Like, you don't even internally think you can execute upon anything. And you kind of position yourself in a way where they're giving you the same line of, oh, say that we can save you money or we can do literally everything. That is not appealing at all. I mean, I've had countless shippers come on this show and my podcast and literally tell everybody that. And these guys are in charge of large transportation spends, you guys. So we talk about the niche a lot. We talk about going after a very specific freight type. Now, as you're building it up from scratch, it might not be easy. You might develop your niche in the customers that you activate. You know, I am choosing and building up mine off of open deck and heavy haul because that's where the bulk of my experience is. And then building materials as well. That's where the bulk of my experience is. So yeah, is there some dry van overlap? Of course, there's going to be some dry van overlap in that. But my core competencies are within the flatbed and like an open deck and heavy haul niche. And that's what I'm going to go after and build up my book of business after. That's where I'm calling all of my prospects off of. I'm really trying to own the Phoenix market here for that. So I'm staying local because at the end of the day, I want people to see that I'm a real human being. That's why I go off of videos. That's what I'm comfortable with. Now, if you're not comfortable with that, I can't sit here and say you have to do videos because it's not for everybody. But I want to be very hyper focused on what I'm doing because what I've discovered over my career is that shippers inside of a segment are shippers inside of a certain segment all have similar problems, right? Like they all have similar requirements as well at the same time. So how are you positioning yourself as a subject matter expert? And that's what I want you all to really go after is, again, like go after, I think you would be shocked at how much freight actually moves on a lane. You know, and the fact of the matter is if you're calling somebody, like you can't handle all of their freight right now. If somebody dropped 100 loads on in your lap, you guys would literally, I mean, most of us would literally fail on probably, well, maybe not in today's market, but reality, you're not going to get all of them covered. So again, you want to build that up. My company's motto is one truckload at a time, you guys, because that's what it takes. That's how you build a business. That's how you build a book of business, is one at a time. And we can't get ahead of ourselves with a lot of this stuff. So for me, it's very much hyper focused in on our core competencies and really going off of that, because everybody's going after, you know, if you go out there like the drive-in or the food shipments, everybody's going after the same customers. Everybody's chasing freight markets around the country, right? Everyone's going to be a produce broker coming up here when produce picks up. Then they're going to transfer away. They're going to go to another one. They're going to go to another one. But what about all the other freight that's out there? Like you're competing against 90%. I would say 90% of the people that are in brokerage only focus on drive-in and reefer, which if that's what you're going to do, more power to you. I love my friends over at A&Z Trucking out here, you know, and my boys at Freight Vaughn and all in River City Logistics, all these guys, but they have core competencies if you talk to them. But for me, it's like when you're chasing a freight market, everybody's chasing it. You are so diluted in there. You like the chance of a response is so minimal. And again, everybody goes after it when it's hot. But what about all those other months when they're not busy? You realize what happens? That freight's still moving, but who's moving it? People move away all the time from that stuff when their other customers start shipping. Then all of a sudden they forget about those other customers. That's why I'm telling you guys, this year is going to be one of the greatest opportunities to capture market share long-term with customers. This is stuff that is 1000% going to happen, because the way that people bid on freight and are going to execute on freight in Q1 is they're just going to do it for volume, like we've talked about. They're going to eventually start rejecting that stuff because they're going to go chase their dollars somewhere else. But where does all this freight go to? Because people start working on it or they get assigned a new rep. So building up your book of business, you guys, it's hard. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's easy, but if you focus in on a specific freight type, if you focus in on a specific niche and you don't deviate outside of that in your building purposes. Now, someone's going to say, oh, well, you know, what about fuck later on down the road? All right. You need to worry about today and build your book of business today. If a reefer customer called me and said, hey, Chris, I love your show, I want you to haul my freight, am I going to say no? Absolutely not. But I'm not going to openly solicit them from a cold call perspective. I'm cold calling and cold messaging, and cold outreach is geared towards open deck and heavy haul. And that's my core competency, and that's what I'm going to build up off of it. I got some stuff coming through in the comments here, so I want to answer some of these questions. David K says, good morning, all. Keep up the great. I appreciate that, man. Caleb Bost, his question, how ready do you need to be before you make sales calls? Should you have customers? Should you have the customers before you dive in? Caleb, I think from you, what I think you're asking me right now is be prepared before you reach out and call somebody. Like, I think a big fatal error from sales reps is you're calling to find out more about somebody's operation, right? We don't have that luxury as a broker. So again, back to my whole spiel on the niche. I only am calling open deck shippers, right? So I know their operation. It doesn't matter. Like, I've moved a lot of construction equipment in my career. It doesn't matter if it's a Case, Caterpillar, New Holland, John Deere, whatever the brand, they're all similar dimensions. They're all similar. There's just a different logo on the side of it. So I'm already familiar with it. And in my experience in working with multiple building materials companies, for example, when it comes to sheetrock, pavers, bricks, shingles, they all operate in a similar capacity. So it's creating that internal customer profile in your head. And that's how you're positioning yourself. So that's how you ready yourself. Having the customers before you dive in, everybody, I'm starting from scratch, man. I've started from zero. I've onboarded a few shippers that I'm working with right now. Again, one truckload at a time mentality, but go after it. And the practice that you're looking for is in the repetition. All right. Remember that the practice that you need is in the repetition. Not every sales call is going to go perfect. All right. I get told no just as much as you guys do. It's nothing personal. And that's one thing that I keep in mind. And I just put a post out that the other day, so I don't want to spend too much time on that, but like, that's my mentality is it's like, it's not personal. I mean, if they hate me, they hate me. So what? But it's not personal. All right. So I hope that answered your questions there. Louis Montano says, some shippers tell me that the agents to talk to them like they know the shipper needs to do not hear them out at all. Yeah. And that's another thing too, is listen to your prospects. Listen to what your customers are telling you. Because when you are in direct communication with them, you guys, they're telling you what's important to them. They're telling you what they need. If they're not busy right now, but they tell you that they'll be busy in April, don't keep selling them on, like, they know you have capacity, like they know you can get them trucks. They're telling you, hey, I don't need you right now, but come back to me in a couple of months. Okay. Position yourself, stand out in a crowd. The stats are all glaringly out there, you guys. 50% of the people do not follow up after the first form of contact. All right. 50%. Half your competition's out the door. After the third point of contact, I think it's like 85% of people will never follow up a fourth time. So think about that. All of your competition is gone after 3 points of contact if they don't close. Tiffany Martin says, you're welcome, but thank you. You inspired me to take the leap from a brokerage I was miserable at, treated her like shit, to go on my own and get my authority. You provided me with so much vital information to help me start up, and I truly appreciate you. Damn, Tiffany. Having my own authority, I do every single thing myself. Can you please recommend any tips to get some relief? By that, I mean good systems for attaining carriers, your preferences on TMS, CRM, and anything that may add. Tiffany, I appreciate that message a lot. Thank you. When it creating, like putting yourself out there and creating content, you guys, like it's messages that I get from Tiffany like this and others. Like, this is why I show up every single day. Like building up a platform, building up all of this. It's not self-serve. It's not for me. It might not, some of you guys might be shocked by this, but like, I'm a man of faith, although I swear a lot. I know that I was blessed with a voice, and I know that I was put on this earth to use that voice to help elevate others. So that's the whole point of all of this stuff to me. Tiffany, in regards to, for attaining carriers, it's all about how are you delivering that message out there? How would you perceive it? Like, would you want to work with a broker that didn't know all the low details? So for me, it's always about the small details, because I feel like if I was a driver and somebody lied to me about a pallet count, I'm going to think like, what else are they lying to me about? So for me, and then furthermore, people want to work with people that know what they're talking about, right? So if you're out there, you're very direct about weights, pallet counts, commodities, appointment times. Don't sell somebody on they'll work you in when we get there. Don't do any of that shit. Be very direct about what's going on with those shipments, and you will attract a carrier base from that. Furthermore, don't sell them down the road on hold on. Don't sell them on something that's not actually there. Like if they're calling you, like if you're calling a carrier and you're trying to move a load from Dallas to Atlanta, for example, and they're telling you like, hey, that might work, but I really need to get up to Richmond, Virginia. They're accepting, they might be accepting your load as a backup in that instance. Not all the time, but again, hear them out. Ask them what lanes they'd like to run often. What's their why? Why are they running this lane? Get very direct with them about that, because again, they'll let you know. And those carriers, not all the time, but for the majority of the time, those carriers are going to want to work with you time and time again. In regards to a TMS and a CRM, if you send me a DM on LinkedIn, Tiffany, I'll put you in contact with some of my my friends that are in the industry. Let me see. Nathan at BPW, saving money can drive rates down. It's just as much as drivers accepting cheap. Maybe I'm wrong. That's how I see it. Thanks, Anthony. He says it's fire. Tiffany Martin actually had that happen last Friday. 100 containers. However, he wanted 596 miles live loads and unload for five. Oh, shit. Yeah. Yeah, it's probably not heavy hauls. No, Tiffany, this is fine. My take on heavy hauls is that's where it's at. I love heavy haul freight. That's my bread and butter. I love over dimensional. I love all of that stuff. I'm all for it. Let me see. Rick Wooten, good morning. Sorry, I'm getting caught up on messages. And Tiffany Martin, build a carrier network up first. If you need any lists with carriers, messages me. Yeah, perfect. Mike McBride says, trying to learn more. How critical is it to vet your customers before you call? Mike, I think it's extremely critical to vet your customers prior to calling and emailing them, in the sense of, again, like you're not going to find financials or anything like that on them, but I want to know literally everything possible about a shipper or a prospect of mine prior to calling them. It's amazing what's out there on Google, like, and on their website, like literally everything is out there. And yeah, to me, it's very imperative to call somebody and be completely in line with what they have to offer. Cause you can't, again, it's like, I look at it like this, like if you were calling a cheese shipper and you're like, hey, I do a lot of dry van freight, like, come on, like stuff like that, Mike. Let me see. Samaj says, how do you go about finding reefer LTL carriers? Samaj, I would connect with the Rocket Shipping, Gabe Pankinen. He is all things LTL for me. When it comes to LTL reefer carriers, he would be the one that I would connect with and talk to about, because he's got all of the connections in regards to that, man. I don't have a lot of experience in LTL, or I would hit up Mark Groves with Port TMS. He's got a lot of experience in LTL as well, and he might be able to help you out with there. Matt Fain, Pop Capacity. I love it. He says, listening is key. They allow us to find and tell you the pain points. Let me see. Are brokers / managed trans providers looking to other solutions to add value, warehousing, transloading, cross? See, Matt, so Matt's question is if are we looking for other solutions to add value, like warehousing and transloading and cross-docking? At this point in my career, Matt, I wish I would have adopted that earlier in there on selling, talking to them about their short and long-term distribution needs. And again, you guys research this stuff and find out more before you bring this to the table. But I think I personally, in my time moving food shipments, the amount of transloading and cross-docking that I needed to do was a lot. Like, and hint, reach out to Matt Fain with Pop Capacity if you guys want to find out some of that. But I think it's imperative to look at it from that perspective, because again, it's not always about the dollars and cents of, hey, I can handle a couple of your truckloads. Like talking to them about the infrastructure of their transportation network is a great separator out there. I want to go in there, and especially if you're in the food world, for example, because there's a lot of moving parts that are out there. And talking to them about transload facilities and everything else, because stuff shifts in transit. It happens all the time for whatever reason. And having that information out there, or talking to them about their future plans of expansion on, are you opening up any distribution centers in any other cities that are out there and stuff like that, I think are very critical. If you're going to find success, if you're going to play in that realm. Louis Mantano says, if you treat your carriers like shit, that's the way that they're going to treat your. Yeah, that's very true, man. That is very true. And, for me personally, that's one thing that's always at the top of mind is it's like that's our direct representative out there in the field. Now, that's not all the time. Somebody's gonna be like, oh, but what about this? What I personally think that you got to be the bigger person in a lot of these situations, because the last thing I want to do is rile somebody up to the point where they go in and tell a shipper or receiver to fuck off because of something that I did to piss them off, and there's a lot of stuff that are outside of our control, but I think that we need to very much focus in on how you treat your drivers. Like for us, Freight Coach Logistics, we're a concierge service to our carrier partners. We are there. And I talk about this on the show a lot. I am behind a computer screen all day long. Don't give out directions, but I can find stuff for them. I can have answers for them. It's not an imposition. Like that, again, that's a direct representative of me out there. And that's what I want to come across with that. But, again, you guys, I think, this was awesome, by the way. I can't believe we're already almost at 30 minutes. I personally think, you guys, that no matter what, and this was one of the things on why I really chose to start doing live shows every day to break down articles, you guys, was there is so much information that's out there. And, I think of, somebody like with Tiffany here, going out on her own. She has everything on the line. I have everything on the line. I don't have a fucking plan B. I don't have a backup option. I don't have a family member I can call to stroke me a check for $100,000 to keep me afloat. I eat what I kill. I do this. This isn't a lifestyle thing. This isn't fun. This is how I provide for my family. This is how I put a roof over my family's head and food on their table, just like a lot of you out there. And when I saw a lot of these articles that are coming out, again, there's a lot of validity. There's a lot of change that happens in business. There's a lot of shit that can go on. But what are you going to do to work through those things? Because if you pay attention to headlines right now, why cold call, right? With all the uncertainty, why cold call? I personally think right now is the greatest time to get out there. Every time because as things get challenging, as markets shift, by the choice of the individual, they quit. And those are those moments, because shit's going to go wrong, you guys. It's not easy. It takes a lot of effort, but there is a false sense of how things were done over these last couple of years in how much uncertainty that there was in the world. But the fact of the matter is you cannot overlook the importance of your customers. All right. Because they're not recyclable, just like a solid carrier partner. They're not recyclable. All right. What value can you add? And if your mentality is to truly add value to somebody's network, you will find success when you are cold calling. Because again, what value can I bring to my prospect? It's not about the money, you guys. All right. And that sounds kind of counterintuitive, but the money will come. All right. The money will come. The focus is what value are you bringing? What value are you bringing to your customers and your prospects? Because if you're just like everybody else, like, why are they going to set you up? It takes time, it takes effort, and it takes a relentless pursuit to not get bogged down during the rejection phase of things, which I'm going through. Like, yeah, I've onboarded customers, you guys, but I get rejections. I get a ton of rejection, just like you guys. But I'm going to keep showing up and I'm going to keep making phone calls. Let me see. Yeah, anytime. And I love the Italian reference as well, Tiffany. Whitney Young, please check weather and routes before setting. Yeah. And that's another critical component. And again, you guys, this is coming from a driver. So take notes on this. Checking routes for weather and scheduling appointments based off of that. So it's not too, that is very key. That is very key. And then furthermore, talk to your drivers. Like again, Whitney's in Utah, so he's got the chains, he's got all that stuff in his truck. But if you're moving a load from Florida to California, Northern California, and they might be going through the mountains at some point, talk to them about having the right stuff, the chains, all of that stuff to be prepared for any inclement weather that comes off the road. Again, you guys, no truckload is worth a human life. All right. Keep that in mind. Let me see. Mike says, how critical is speed to market inside the broker speed? Speed to market, I think it depends, man. If you're fully prepared to jump in and you have experience in it, I would definitely, I'm all about just ripping off the Band-Aid, man. I don't know if I'm the right person to ask that question to, because I personally think that at least for me, the more I think about something, the less action I take. And that has been very bad for me in the past. So I'm kind of the type of person where I'll run through a wall and then figure out later why it hurts. But, that's just my opinion. Erica, it's been a blessing to hear all this and talk about it. Erica, that's what it's here for. We're here every single day. We break down articles, but again, you guys bring your questions. I put that in the show thing every day. If you have sales and operations questions, you guys bring them every day. I will answer them as I go. Again, I won't hold anything back. There's nothing proprietary about what we do as a freight broker, regardless of what some of these people say. There's nothing proprietary in your sales approach, and I'm here to help you guys. Louis says, if you're going to barely start your brokerage, I think the biggest challenge is to be fearless and handle. Yeah, very true, man. Very true. Louis is, be fearless. The worst they're going to say is no. And what I found is just because it's a no today does not mean it's necessarily a no tomorrow. So keep following it up. But that's it for today, you guys. We didn't break down any articles, but I had a hell of a lot of fun answering all of your guys' questions. We'll be back tomorrow. 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central. The replays, you guys, I go on YouTube as well. I stream live to YouTube. And then I also do the audio only version of the replay on iTunes and Spotify. After this, if you guys go over to those other platforms, do me a solid. Subscribe, share the show, rank the show. It just helps get that exposure out. That's how we have become the top transportation podcast, is because of each and every one of you. And we need to reach more people. And if you guys see value in this, your network's going to see value in this as well. Jesse Griffin, he says that that's the money for your business will come. The value you bring to the customers is what matters the most. To double down on that, the value is incredibly unique to each customer. So pay attention to what's important to them. Amen to that. And he also says rates operate mostly in the bandwidth of the market will bear, but incumbency and premiums are gained through operational excellence and relationships. Very well said, Jesse. And that's a great spot to stop for today. We'll be back tomorrow, you guys, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.